The NFC East is just getting crushed in strength of schedule this year. I mean, they all have a brutally hard schedule.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast preview of the NFC East. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with us today to help us go through a division very close to us is we live in the East Coast megalopolis, social studies teacher. Teacher of the month, every month, Mike Connors. Mike, I said megalopolis, and most of the people say, what are you talking about? Is that a Godzilla creature?
Yes. Mothra and Godzilla will now be going at it in the NFC East. So let's do this.
So segment 1, we will give you an overview of each team. Segment 2, we will talk about the question driving each team. And in segment 3, we will talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. Let's get started. The Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning, defending world champions. Over-under is 11.5. Man, quite frankly, they've done it very, very well. Love the Super Bowl rings. Hurts is getting a lot of hate for some strange reason. It's going to be hard to beat them. What do you think about the Philadelphia Eagles, sir?
Well, I mean, hats off to the Eagles for last season. I mean, I'm a Giants fan, and it's as hard as it is for me to say, they were the class of the league last year when it came to getting things done. They made a great signing in Saquon Barkley, and they just took care of business. That being said, let's move into the 2025 season. The NFL is doing nothing to help the Eagles defend their crown this year. They have the 4th or 5th toughest schedule. The NFC East is just getting crushed in strength of schedule this year. I mean, they all have a brutally hard schedule. Most of the tough games that the Eagles have against returning playoff teams are on the road. I mean, week 2, they go to the Chiefs. Week 4, they're in Tampa. Week 7, they're at the Vikings. Week 10 at the Packers. Week 14 at the Chargers. Week 17 at the Bills. So every time they play a great team, they have to load up the bus and go to hostile territory. So that's not helping them at all. Now, that being said, the Eagles have quite possibly the best GM in the NFL. Howie Roseman just does a great job of making signings and drafting and loading the team up. He has his bat phone set up to call Georgia when they're getting ready to draft people and sign people. It's like how Clemson used to be to Buffalo when Rex was up there. But the Eagles do have some challenges this year. While they are stacked on offense, they lost about 4,070 snaps on defense. So that's a huge amount of playing time that they have to replace. Now, that being said, what we said earlier, Howie Roseman is one of the best at acquiring talent. So I'm sure he is going to reload that defense very well. The question is, how well will that come together? When you bring in new linebackers and new secondary players, it takes a little time to be able to read off of each other. It's like an offensive line. I was an offensive lineman when I played, and when you played next to the same guy year after year, you knew what each other were doing. You could read the body language. You knew what his footwork was. So it will be interesting to see how the Eagles move forward with that. But the Eagles offensively, Hurt got ranked as the number 9 quarterback, I think, in the latest ESPN ranking, and people were battling over whether that was too high or too low. I'll tell you what, as a Giants fan, I would love to have the number 9 ranked quarterback on my team. But, some people were saying, would you rather have Herbert or would you rather have Hurt because he just won a Super Bowl, but the other has better stats? So tell you what, for the Eagles, he's doing a great job, and he's the right quarterback for that team. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the league. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be 9. I'm not saying he's horrible, but the kid wins and he works within the system. We've said it 9 million times. Sometimes boring is good. Let Saquon make all the big plays, backflip over people, jump up and down, do the moonwalk, whatever he needs to do. Hurts just gets the ball into the end zone and drives that offense and is the leader. So I think the Eagles are going to be a force to be reckoned with again this year.
Yeah, they do have that tough schedule, and I won't be a revisionist history. Hurts didn't play intimidatingly good last year, so I actually have no problem with where they ranked him as a pure passer or whatever. But in terms of being a winner, yeah, you're going to have to pack your lunch there.
And one thing I forgot to mention is that Kevin Patullo I believe that's how you pronounce his name, is the new offensive coordinator. This is the fourth offensive coordinator in 4 seasons for the Eagles. So they've had a lot of turnover at that position. But considering they keep winning and are one of the best teams in the NFL, Nick Sirianni seems to be doing something right. Again, I don't care for him as a person. I don't like the way he carries himself. He's a good coach, but he just kind of rubs New Yorkers the wrong way. So we'll see what happens there. But Sirianni has a lot of turnover at that offensive coordinator position. Let's see if he made the right decision again in who he hired.
All right. Next, we have the Washington Commanders, over under 9.5. They are the team local. I'm based just outside of our nation's capital. Stadium is not too far away from me. They had every conceivable break go their way last year. I am in the minority with this 9.5, saying, you know what? They haven't been boring this offseason. They've made some newspaper type signings, but in terms of football, Laramie Tunsil was available for a reason. Debo Samuels was available for a reason. And they should pay Terry McLaurin. I'm not anticipating anything but him being in camp eventually. So what do you think, Mike? Are the Commanders ready to take that next step, or will they take a step back?
I tell you what, I think we were all surprised last year at how well Daniels played and the result of the Commanders season. But like you said, they got every bounce. Every ball bounced right into their hands. Every ball that was thrown up by Daniels landed in a receiver's hands. Every ball that went up against their defense either got picked off or batted down. And that's great. Good teams get lucky. We as athletes, we know that all the time. Hard work instills luck. So I think that Daniels is going to have another good season. I don't think there'll be much of a sophomore slump. He was a big-time player in college. He has a great offensive coordinator in Keith's favorite, Cliff Kingsbury. I know Keith was amazed that he didn't get a head job this year at some NFL team, but I think he knows Daniels very well and is good at adapting systems around the players that he has. Now, Terry McLaurin, will he show up? He didn't go to minicamp. He wants a big contract. Not sure if they're going to give it to him. Will he be a no-show? That could have a lot of effects on the team, mostly from a psychological side. Is there going to be infighting? Most players want each other to get their bag, but they also want guys to be there to get the job done. Now, as a receiver who's been there before, he could come in at the 11th hour, sign a week before the first game and still be the impact player. Because being a receiver, you're kind of out on an island by yourself. You're not double team blocking or pulling around someone. We have to work together on that. So he could come in at the last minute like that and still make a big difference. So it'll be interesting to see. I think they're going to be a very strong team. If they get I don't know if they'll get all the bounces like they did next year. So I don't think they're going to take a huge step backwards. I don't know if their record will be as good, but I don't look at that as a step forward, step back. You have to go by the quality of play because, again, their schedule, again, they have one of the 5 or 6 toughest schedules. Daniels is still a young player, but, Quinn's a good coach. Cliff Kingsbury, great offensive coordinator. So I think they're going to be a very solid, good team. Their record might not be as successful as next year, but I think the team will reach their goals besides maybe record, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, and this is a no bum conversation. They're a better team, but it's a little different. The smartest people in the history of the world are NFL defensive coordinators, and they've got tape. And they have spent the summer, and teams have listened to all of the hubbub and hullabaloo. So it's going to be tougher. And that number is a sexy number, man, over under 9.5. We'll see what happens. So now, shout out to my big brother, Rick. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys as well as George Ockett. Over and under 7.5. Dallas has been very quiet all offseason, outside of the Micah Parsons thing, but that's Jerry. It's going to be challenging for the Cowboys to win. You've got a rookie head coach. You got Dak Prescott coming back from injury. Dak is a 4th-round draft pick who's being paid like the greatest player ever, and 4th-round draft picks tend to be inconsistent. So I'm never mad at Dak. Mike, what do you think about the Dallas Cowboys this year? Can they do anything?
Yeah, it seems that other teams have picked up the mantle as being the mouthpiece of the NFL in the offseason. It has been extremely quiet out of Dallas. There's been no major drama. There's been no huge headlines. There's been no scroll across the bottom of SportsCenter of some kind of major development going down in Dallas. So that's been kind of surprising to me. That being said, Dak, I have no hatred in my heart for Dak Prescott. Like you said, fourth round pick, great in season quarterback. He reminds me a lot of Tony Romo when it comes to that. He wins the regular season games, but when it comes to the postseason, I'd rather have Eli Manning. Eli might not have been the best regular season quarterback, but when it came to the postseason, he was the man that you wanted calling the signals. Dak has never done that. You have to remember, last time the Cowboys were to the Super Bowl was what year? 1996. We're talking 30 years ago. I mean, if I was a Yankee, I'm a Yankee fan. If the Yankees went 30 years without going to the World Series, I would be livid. So Dallas fans, I know, are chomping at the bit, but Dak's coming back off a big injury. Okay. They made a couple of decent signings. I mean, the mid-May deal for George Pickens surprised a lot of people. CeeDee Lamb says that they're going to be co-number ones receivers. Dallas players historically don't play real nice when it comes to sharing the spotlight. So I'll be interested to see what that happens when you have two people saying we're going to share the number one spot. Egos sometimes can't always handle that. So we'll see what happens there. I'm hoping that Dak does not have any recurring, lingering effects from his injury. Even though I don't root for the Cowboys, I never root for anybody to get hurt and have their career suffer that way. It's the wrestler and coach in me. For the first time since 2006, a Schottenheimer will be a head coach. Brian's getting a chance after 14 years as a offensive coordinator. Now, Dallas has a long history of coaching turnover, but the Schottenheimer name carries a lot of weight in the NFL. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. Can he keep the egos in check? If Dak starts to not play well, can he deflect attention away from Dak so the pressure doesn't build on him? I mean, Dak's a veteran, but that's a lot of pressure wearing that star on your helmet and being one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Will Jerry stay out of the press? He's been very quiet this offseason also. I don't know if he's spending time on that $365 million yacht he's got going around the Mediterranean or whatever. God bless him if he does. But it's been so quiet in Dallas, I think a little too quiet. So if things start to go awry in the season, I could see all hell breaking loose down in Big D and that team just spiraling out of control.
Yeah, well, again, good luck to the Cowboys. A lot of longtime close personal friends, as well as my brother, are Cowboys fans. So we wish them luck. Bless their hearts. All right, Mike. New York Giants. Over-unders 5.5. Shout out to Mike King, Giants fan extraordinaire. So you got a guy who's a dead man walking in terms of his contract, in terms of the head coach, Brian Daboll. You drafted a quarterback that not really a lot of people were overly excited about in terms of Jackson Dart. You brought in Russell Wilson, whose best days may be behind him because he looks very full. But he's a professional football player. And you got possibly one of the most entertaining quarterbacks out there, Jameis Winston. I don't know what you got, man. So talk to me. What do you think about the Giants this year?
Yeah, the Giants went from having the most boring quarterback room with Daniel Jones to one of the most colorful with Wilson, Winston, and Dart. And don't forget, Cutlets DeVito is still in there, listed as the number 4 quarterback on the depth chart. So yeah, so let's put it this way: Brian Daboll finally has his quarterback. People have to remember he didn't draft Daniel Jones. He was forced to work with him for a couple of years because the Giants invested so much in him as the number 6 pick, and then they gave him the big contract instead of Saquon. And a lot of people still go crazy about that, but Saquon would not have been the same Saquon he was with the Eagles last year if he was with the Giants. The Giants didn't have the line. They didn't have the receivers to stretch the field. So the best thing for Saquon, even though if he wanted to be a Giant for his career, was to go to the Eagles. Now, let's talk about Jackson Dart. Now, Jackson Dart is getting a ton of press up here. People are saying all the right things, that he's doing all the right things. Now, he's going in with no anticipation of being the number 1 starter. They've pretty much said from the beginning that Russell Wilson was going to be the number 1 starter and Winston number 2. And when they drafted Dart, the message was that Dart's not going to play at all this year. Dart's been doing so well in camp. A lot of people are talking about him coming in mid to early mid-season. So that scares me because I liked Dart before the draft. I wasn't advocating trading up to get him, but I thought he was a quarterback that reminded me of Josh Allen, of who Daboll drafted when he was the offensive coordinator with the Buffalo Bills. I mean, Allen was a highly anticipated quarterback. I don't think anyone expected him to be an MVP and multiple 13 winning quarterback. And a lot of people thought Daboll would come in and change Daniel Jones. Coaches like to pick their own quarterback. So now he has them. What the owner Mara had said is this year they have to show improvement. That's a pretty loose term when your team won 3 games. Show improvement. What does that mean? Does that mean that the locker room is buying in more? Does that mean that you win 12 games? Or does that mean that you win 4 games? The Giants have the toughest strength of schedule in the NFL. That's not helping them at all. They have a good quarterback in Russell Wilson. We've talked about him a lot in the past. Great quarterback with Seattle, kind of took a step back, and I think it checked his ego a lot when he went to Denver, and now he's in New York. A lot of people thought he was going to come here before he went to Denver. His wife, I believe her name is Sierra or something like that. She's an professional entertainer, singer, so they want to be in the New York market. He wants to get into broadcasting afterwards, so this is a place they want to be. If he can come out and ball out, it's going to be a great thing for him and for the organization. Winston is a good backup. I wouldn't want him as my starter, but he could come in and throw 7 touchdown passes in a game, or he could come in and throw 9 interceptions in a game. And he's going to joke in the locker room about it self-deprecatingly. So I like him a lot as a backup guy and someone kind of to hold Dart's hand also in how to do things in a professional way. Winston's been in a lot of locker rooms, a lot of different organizations. The Giants just don't sign any player. They usually vet them pretty well. So I think Winston wants to be here. The Giants wanted him as a backup, and I'm hoping Dart can learn a lot from them. I'm not asking these guys to be mentors, but just go about your job and let Dart observe what you're doing and learn from observations. Also, having signed Dart and drafted him, moved up to him, that has taken Abdul Carter, the number 1 pick for the Giants, number 3 overall, out of the press a lot. You're hearing some things about him here in the New York market, but not like a number 3 pick, the first edge guy that come out of Penn State. He's getting kind of sidestepped with this, which I think is okay because it's taking a lot of pressure off him. If the one thing the Giants do have that's pretty good is their defense. Some people are saying the front 7 could be one of, if not 2, the best front 7 in the NFL. They have some questions at the defensive backfield. They let a couple people go. They made some signings. So I think the Giants defense is going to be the strength of the team this year. And historically, when the Giants have good teams, that's been their blueprint, is have a strong defense and let the offense just do what it needs to do. So I don't think the Giants are going to do anything great this year. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL just because I believe their defense is going to be good. And our left tackle's coming back. Neal has slid in from right tackle to guard. He's battling Runyon for the left guard position. I think that's going to help him because he struggled a lot at right tackle. So we'll see. The Giants are definitely going to be a work in progress, but I know the Giants organization. I followed them my whole life. I don't think Daboll's on as much of the hot seat with the organization as he is with the press and the NFL fandom around the country. I mean, you see what the Giants are doing, but Mara likes stability. He doesn't like change. The last couple coaches we had were 2 years and out, 2 years and out, 2 years and out. He doesn't like that look. I think he really likes the GM. I think he really likes Daboll. I think he wants him to be successful. That's why he gave that vague, we need to show improvement. He hates losing, but I think he thinks this is a good combination, and I kind of tend to agree. I like them, but we'll see what happens.
All right. So fans, in segment 2, we will answer the big question about each team in the NFC East. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Keith Adams, and for years, I've witnessed the struggles student athletes face on how to truly balance the demands of academics and athletics. It's a question that I have dedicated my life to answering. That's why I wrote Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. It's more than just a book. It is my personal journey, and it is filled with hard-earned lessons from decades as a coach educator, and now president of the CKA Safe Project. Inside, you will find practical advice, real life stories, and a clear roadmap to help student athletes, coaches, and parents navigate the complex world of balancing sports and education. And now I am thrilled to bring this message to a wider audience as a proud member of the Cascade Sports Network. We're partnering to amplify these crucial conversations about student athlete success. I believe every student athlete deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential, both on and off the court and the field. You can purchase your copy directly from our website at www.ckasafeproject.org. Join me and the Cascade Sports Network as we work together to help every student athlete succeed. Welcome back to the Ad Coaches Podcast. And in segment 2, let's answer the big question. So, Mike, first question regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. Can they repeat and be back-to-back world champions? What say you?
Can they? Yeah. Will they? No. I don't think they will this year. It's really hard to repeat. Replacing a bunch of players on defense is going to be, I think, something that will affect them early in the season. Then they'll play into it. But I just don't think the Eagles are going to catch lightning in a bottle again this year. I think they're definitely a playoff team, but I don't think they're going to be the NFC representative in the big game.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very hard for them. If the playoffs can go through Philadelphia, that's much better, but their schedule's tough, and I don't know if they can get home field advantage throughout, so that's going to make it tough. Next question. Will Jaden Daniels regress? CJ Stroud, after a great rookie year, regress. Jaden Daniels had a rookie year for the ages. What can he do for an encore? What do you think, sir?
I don't think he's going to regress. I'm not thinking he's going to make giant leaps forward, but I don't think he's going to have a sophomore slump. He didn't play very much out of himself last year. He just did what he does. And I think he's going to do that again. They got a couple of weapons for him. And again, your man Cliff Kingsbury is still the offensive coordinator. They've been working together for the whole offseason, after last year. So they've got a good rapport with each other. Kingsbury could have gone other places, I'm sure, but he stayed there because he likes what's there. I think the Commanders, my wife's favorite team, she's from the DC area, I think they're moving in the right direction. And I think they're going to be a power to be reckoned with starting this year and then moving forward. This might not be the year where they put it all together, but I see them moving forward.
And I will tell you, from a management standpoint, not having coaching turnover in the secondary positions, that's really critical for anybody's development. We had 5 principals in 10 years when we worked together. A lot of turnover. They didn't have any turnover at their head coach or their position coaches for Jaden Daniels, so I think that's going to help. In terms of the Dallas Cowboys, Mike, can they block out the noise and actually focus on improvement? And the reason why I say block out the noise is whatever Dallas does is on the news. Can they block that out and just worry about getting better?
Yeah, no, it's been too quiet too long in Big D. If they don't come out of the gates and start blowing people out of the water right away, things are going to get sketchy. People are going to start to talk. The press is going to get all over them. Then Jerry's going to get involved. And nothing ever good is when Jerry gets involved with the media. So I just don't think the Cowboys are as strong a team this year. I worry about Dak coming back from that ACL injury. I hope he comes back strong for his sake. And when the NFC East plays better, it makes the NFL better. So, but I just don't see the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. Again, last time they were in the Super Bowl was 30 years ago. They just don't have it this year. It's too tough a division, Giants aside.
All right, and then finally, with your New York Football Giants, is this season lost before it even begins? What do you think, sir?
No, how can it get any worse than last year's 3 wins? I mean, no, I don't want to say we're playing with house money, but we got nowhere to go but up. Daboll's a good coach. Okay. Will he work out as a great coach with the Giants? Who knows? The first year there, he was the coach of the year. Big win in the playoffs on the road with a quarterback who wasn't his. He was a good coach in Buffalo. The guy knows football. Okay. Can he build the team with what he wants, with the players that he's handpicked? We'll see what happens, but I don't think it's a lost season to begin with. No, Giants have a good defense. They had a very good draft. They have a great front force in on their defense with sexy Dexter Lawrence. They have 3 great edge rushers with Abdul Carter and a few other people. So the Giants have nowhere to go but up. No one's expecting anything of them. Go out there and prove people wrong. They think you're a joke. Go out and punch them in the face.
All right. And with that, in segment 3, we will make predictions strictly for entertainment purposes only. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here. And for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CKA Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches Podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 3, we are going to talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. Mike, who do you have as the predicted division champ in the NFC East?
They have some questions, but I think you still got to go Philadelphia. Their GM is too good. I don't like their coach, but the players play for him. Hurt's a good quarterback. They have great tools, great offensive line, arguably the best in the NFL, good receiving core, arguably the best running back in the country in Saquon Barkley. The Eagles, I think, are the ones, unless there's catastrophic. And again, I wish that on nobody. You have to pick them, I think, to be the division champions.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles as the division champions. In your opinion, sir, who is the sleeper pick for the NFC East?
I don't know if you can call them the sleeper pick after the season they had last year, but I think the second best team in that division is the Washington Commanders. I wanted to say Redskins. Sorry about that. Yeah, the Washington Commanders. If they came through and beat the Eagles and won the division, I'd be like, oh, man, but it wouldn't be totally shocking. I'd be excited about it because my wife, like I said, my wife is a Skins fan. I lived in the D.C. area for 12 years. A lot of my friends are Commanders fans. So I'd like to see them do well, but they're my pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cowboys as a sleeper pick. That 7.5 is a sexy number.
You're going to lose money.
They've been up. That's
again.
The first time. They've had a boring off season outside of the Micah Parsons signing. So we'll see what happens. Do we get multiple playoff teams out of the NFC East? Mike, who do you have?
Yeah, I got Philadelphia and Washington going to the playoffs. The NFC is not as loaded top to bottom. There are some very weak conferences, very weak teams. So I think that they get at least 2 teams out of this division.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Philadelphia and Washington. And selfishly, we're trying to get season tickets for the Commanders. Wouldn't mind a good playoff game or two to assist in CKA's organizational growth and development. And do we have a big game participant from the NFC East, sir?
No, I don't think the playoffs are going to go through Philadelphia this year. I don't think they're going to make it to the big game. It's just too daunting a season. It's too hard to repeat unless you have football Jesus, Mahomes running your offense. So no, I don't think the Eagles will repeat and go to the big game this year.
No, I'm going to kind of root for the Eagles to do this. It's always exciting when you have somebody to like heel on and chase.
Oh,
In
Sirianni's that
professional
guy.
wrestling, the money is in the chase, Cody, in the story. So I'm going to go and root for the Eagles and see if we can chase them down. So let's see what happens with that. But this has been fun. So on behalf of our teacher of the month every month, Mike Connors, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, also seen on the Cascade Sports Network. And we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.